Dear students, in this video on ray optics, we will study refraction of light, total internal reflection, and some numerical problems based on these phenomena. So let us begin with the first topic, refraction of light, and you are already familiar with it. So let us have a look at the definition. The bending of light when it passes from one medium to another is called refraction. So when light moves from one medium to another, it changes its path, and that phenomenon is called refraction. Like here you can see light is entering from rarer medium to denser medium, and we have drawn a normal at the point of incidence. Okay, see, this is the original path of the incident ray is this one. The original path is this one, but the light has changed its path, and this is normal drawn at the boundary between rarer medium and denser medium. This boundary is called interface. We call it interface. Okay. Now, when light travels from denser to rarer medium, then also it changes its path. You can see here the straight path of incident ray is this one, but the refracted ray has changed its path, right? And one more thing, you can see angle of incidence here, that is the angle between the normal and the incident ray. Angle of refraction, that is angle between refracted ray and normal. And what is noticed here is that when light is entering from rarer medium to denser medium, it is bending towards the normal. And when light is moving from denser to rarer medium, it is bending away from its normal. Now, what happens when the light is incident along the normal? So, if the light is incident along the normal, it does not bend from its path. You can see here. For a normal incidence, angle of incidence is 0, angle of refraction is 0, and there is no bending from its path. So, that is an important point to note. And now, okay, a light ray when passes from rarer medium N1 to denser medium N2, it bends towards normal. And when a light ray passes from denser medium to rarer medium, it bends away from normal. And when light is incident along the normal, it does not bend from its path. That is, I is equal to R is equal to 0. And now, laws of refraction. You are familiar with these laws. So, the first law, the incident ray, the normal to the refracting surface at the point of incidence, and the refracted ray, they all lie in the same plane. And the second one is, for a given pair of media, the ratio of sine of angle of incidence, that is sine I, to the sine of angle of refraction, that is sine R, is constant, and it is also called Snell's law. You have done this Snell's law also. So, sine I upon sine R is equal to constant. Now, a few more things about this law only. Now, refractive index or optical density of a medium is ratio of velocity of light in vacuum and velocity of light in medium. So, that is how we define refractive index of a medium or optical density of a medium. So, you can see we represent refractive index using N. So, N is equal to sine I upon sine R, and by this definition it is equal to C, velocity of light in vacuum, upon V, velocity of light in medium, and this is also called absolute refractive index of that medium. So medium can be anything. It can be glass, water, any other liquid or solid which is transparent. Now, another thing is we can represent this sine I upon sine R, which is N, as N2 upon N1, or this is equal to N21. Now, N1 is first medium, N2 is second medium. The light is incident in medium N1 and it goes into second medium N2. This is also represented as N21. It means that it is refractive index of second medium with respect to first medium. So, this N21 is refractive index of second medium with respect to first medium. So that you have to remember that the first medium is the one in which lies your incident ray, and the second medium is the one in which the rays enter. And if the first medium is air, then N1 is equal to 1. So for air and vacuum, N1 is taken as 1. Few more things about it. Refractive index of denser medium with respect to rarer medium is more than 1, and refractive index of rarer medium with respect to denser medium is less than 1. In refraction, the velocity and wavelength of light change. In refraction, the frequency and phase of light do not change. Very important point to note. So, now we can have this relation N21, that is refractive index of second medium with respect to first medium. So N21 is N2 upon N1. This is equal to V1 upon V2. And you know that velocity V is equal to nu lambda, where nu is what? Frequency. So lambda cancels out, nu cancels out. You get lambda 1 upon lambda 2. So this relation is very important, and you can see that when you go from a rarer medium to denser medium, the velocity decreases and wavelength also decreases. So from here only, this wavelength in denser medium is equal to lambda upon n, where lambda is wavelength in air or vacuum, upon n is its absolute refractive index. So in denser medium, velocity and wavelength decrease. And since refractive index is the ratio of velocities, so refractive index is dimensionless. Some examples, like refractive index of water is 4 upon 3 or 1.33. Average refractive index of glass is about 1.5, and refractive index of diamond is 2.4 or 2.42. Now, at many places you will see that refractive index is shown by mu also. NCERT uses 1, but many other books use mu. Now, principle of reversibility of light. Here, see the light is, look at it. This light is entering from this rarer medium to denser medium, and in denser medium we have placed a mirror here. This is a mirror, and the light is falling along the normal to the mirror. And you know that on a mirror, whatever shape of or size, when a light is incident along normal, it is always reflected back along the same path. So the reflected light will trace its path backwards. And here we have shown just two media, but we can have 1, 2, 3, 4, many number of media. And if the light falls on a mirror along the normal, the reflected light from it will trace its path backwards. So that is called principle of reversibility. You can see the normal, and now see. When a ray of light, after suffering multiple reflections or refractions, fall on a mirror along the normal, then the reflected ray traces the same path backwards. That is called principle of reversibility. And you know that N21 is sin I upon sin R, and N12 will be sin R upon sin I for a refracted ray, for the reversed ray. And when you multiply these two, you get N12 is into N21 is equal to 1. And now effect of this principle of reversibility. A natural consequence of principle of reversibility is that the image and object positions can be interchanged, and these positions are called conjugate positions. So you will get these situations later while doing numerical problems. Now, relation between real depth and apparent depth of a liquid or any transparent medium. So, supposing we have some liquid, denser medium, and then air, rarer medium. We have an object in denser medium, and see the light starting from this object travels from denser medium to rarer medium, and you can see here the light ray along the normal, and see, let this line be AB, and you see the original path of this incident ray is this one, but it has bent away from normal. The normal at this place is going to be this one. It has to bend away. So the light emerging out of this liquid is going like this. See, normal at this place, and see. So you know that angle of incidence is angle between normal and incident ray. So this is angle of incidence, and angle of refraction is angle between the refracted ray and the normal, right? So I and R. Now for this position, the light is coming along this path, so you will feel that there must be some object placed at this point O dash. Since the final light is coming along this position and your eye is here, you will feel that the rays are coming from this position, but actually the rays are coming from the object. So this O dash is image of this object. So here this O is object, but this O dash is its image, and the real depth of this object is HR, and the apparent depth of this image is HA. So let us see how you work out in maths. See, these two rays can be very close, and this whole thing is washed through one eye only. So this I and R are very, very small. Since it cannot be shown here, so we have shown it at two different places. So look at it. The real depth of object is HR, as I've shown you. The apparent depth is HA, and now using Snell's law, you know that sine I upon sine R is refractive index of second medium, which is air, 1, upon refractive index of the first medium, which is N. So 1 upon N is equal to sine I upon sine R, and we'll find out sine I upon sine R from here. So if you look at this triangle here, this line is normal and this is also normal, so they are parallel, and this is angle of incidence. So alternate angle, this angle will be I only. Similarly, this is angle of refraction and this is also angle of refraction, alternate angles. And if you look at this triangle ABO, then sine I will be equal to see perpendicular AB upon hypotenuse OA. So you can write it like this. Sine I is AB upon OA. Similarly, sine R will be perpendicular, look at this triangle, perpendicular AB upon hypotenuse O dash A. And AB cancelled. This O dash A goes up and OA comes down. Now, the rays OA and OB are very, very close. So, their sizes are nearly equal. I can take OA as real depth HR and O dash A as apparent depth HA. So, it is equal to HA upon HR. And why this situation arises? We can take this approximation because I and R are very small. So now putting the values and take the reciprocal, we arrive at this relation, that the relation is refractive index of denser medium is equal to HR upon HA, that is real depth upon apparent depth. So the refractive index of denser medium is equal to real depth of an object upon apparent depth of an object when the object is placed in denser medium. So some outcomes of it: when the observer is in rarer medium and the object is in denser medium, this HA is lesser than HR. So to a bird, the fish appears to be closer. So if a bird is here and the fish is here, definitely the image appears here. So to the bird, the fish appears closer. And if the opposite happens, if the fish is here and fish is trying to observe the bird, then it will appear farther. When the observer is in denser medium and object is in rarer medium, then HA is greater than HR. So to a fish, the bird appears to be farther than the actual height. You get numerical problems based on this derivation and practical also. So another phenomena, total internal reflection. So see. It is the phenomena of reflection of light back into the same medium when refraction takes place from denser medium to rarer medium. Let's see how. We have an object in denser medium. See, this is denser medium. An object is placed in denser medium. So when the light ray is traveling along the normal, it will go without deviation, straight. And if oblique incidence is there here, then it will bend away from normal. Another one, when we taking it further off, you can see that here, bending away from normal, and this angle of incidence is greater than this one. Here angle of incidence is 0, angle of incidence is increasing continuously, and see, if we increase further, this light ray which was going to rarer medium, now it can graze at the interface between the two media. So here angle of refraction is getting 90 degree. Now this angle of incidence is a very special angle. It is called critical angle, and for which the angle of refraction becomes 90 degree. So you can see that the angle, the refracted ray is bending away from normal, bending more, 90 degree, and when I increase the angle of incidence further, it will be returned back in the same medium. So for the next one, you can see that here. Now this angle is greater than angle of incidence, and now the ray is returned back in the same medium. This phenomenon is called total internal reflection. No light ray is going into rarer medium. And this will take place only and only when the object is placed in denser medium. That means refraction takes place from denser medium to rarer medium, and the angle of incidence is greater than the critical angle. So, the angle of incidence in denser medium, for which angle of refraction is a right angle, is called critical angle. And now, necessary conditions for total internal reflection. You have to remember them. The refraction must take place from denser medium to rarer medium. And the second condition, the angle of incidence in the denser medium must be greater than the critical angle for the pair of media in contact. Now, relation between critical angle and refractive index. Now, applying Snell's law, you get sin I upon sin R is equal to refractive index of second medium upon refractive index of first medium. Now the second medium is rarer medium, first medium is denser medium. And if the second medium is air, then N1 is equal to 1, and N2, the denser medium, its value becomes its absolute refractive index. Now at critical angle, when I is equal to IC, you get sin I upon sin 90, and this I is equal to IC, critical angle. Sin 90 is 1. This is equal to 1 upon N. And now taking the reciprocal, so you see, refractive index of denser medium, mu or N is equal to 1 upon sin IC. IC is the critical angle. So this is a very important relation. So mu is equal to 1 upon sin IC, or N is equal to 1 upon sin IC. Now applications of total internal reflection. So let us look at some applications. Totally reflecting prisms. Now these are right angled isosceles triangles, and the critical angle for glass is 42 degree. For an ordinary glass, the critical angle is 42 degree. So we have a right angled prism, isosceles prism. So you can see that this angle is right angle, this is 45, and obviously this is also going to be 45 degree. An object AB is placed in front of it such that the light is incident on this face along the normal, and since it is coming along the normal, there will be no deviation at this point. The light will go straight without deviation. So now at this point, when the light has to go to the next medium, we have to check the angle of incidence. So see, now you can see that this angle is 45 coming along the normal. This angle will also be 40, this angle is 90. This angle will be 45, 45, 45, and this is normal. So this angle has to be 45 degree. 45 degree. Sorry, this is, the image is just reversed. So this angle is 45 degree. Now the critical angle for the medium is, for these two media, is 42 degree, and here the angle of incidence is greater than the critical angle IC. So that means the ray will suffer total internal reflection, and when it suffers a total internal reflection, then the angle of reflection has to be 45 degree only. And if that happens, you can see, so this is 45, this is also 45, so the total becomes 90 degree. That means this reflected ray is parallel to this object or parallel to this side. And for the same thing happens for the second ray, and at this point again the angle is 90 degree. That means it is coming along the normal, so there is no deviation. They will come straight out from the prism, and you can see that the ray which is starting from the head, after reflection, head will be made here A dash. The ray from the bottom B will reach here B dash, and you can observe this object from here as A dash, B dash. They are turned through 90 degree. Same size, turned through 90 degree. Now, image is turned by 90 degree, same size. Now, another situation. Now, the object is placed at a different location, and now the rays are coming normal to the hypotenuse. You see, the ray is coming normal to the hypotenuse, and here see, the incident rays, and you can see that similar situation is happening here. Look at it. The ray is coming along the normal, so no deviation here, and at this point this angle will be 45 degree. The normal, this angle will be 45 degree. So clearly the angle of incidence is greater than the critical angle 42 degree. So total internal reflection will take place. So this is the reflected ray, and this ray will be parallel to the hypotenuse, and at this point again the similar situation is created. So you can see that the total internal reflection is taking place. So for the first ray it is coming like this, total internal reflection. Again here second total internal reflection, and the ray is coming like this. The same thing is happening for the second one, and now the image is formed at this position. Look at it. The ray which is starting from A, head, coming like this, and head is formed at this place as A dash. The ray starting from B is coming like this, and the tail is formed here as B dash. So the image is inverted. It is of same size, but image is inverted, and it is turned by 180 degree. Another situation here. Same prism. Now the angle of incidence is not zero here. You can see that. When the ray is coming here, at this point, it is not coming along the normal. So it will suffer a refraction here, and the angle is such that it has to enter it, because refraction is taking place from rarer to denser medium. Okay, and at this point it will suffer total internal reflection like this, and at this point it has to enter from denser medium to rarer medium parallel to the incident ray. You can see that here. Yes. So now you can see that the ray starting from point A is coming like this, and its image is formed here. The ray starting from B is coming like this, and you can see that now AB is formed as A dash B dash. It is inverted, but direction is not changed. Image is inverted without changing the direction, as you can see. So these diagrams are asked in examination also. Another important example of total internal reflection is optical fibers or light pipes. Now these light pipes basically consist of two layers of refracting medium or transparent medium. It is a very thin pipe where the inner core is denser and it has an outer covering which is called cladding. It is rarer. So what happens when a light ray is entering this medium? Now at this point, when it has to go to rarer medium, here the refraction is taking place from denser medium to rarer medium, and this angle is such that this is more than the critical angle. So light is reflected, totally reflected, and at this point again it will be totally reflected. You can see normal at this point, total internal reflection, again total internal reflection. So the light is suffering total internal reflection here, 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 and finally it is out from the pipe. So most of the light is taken out from the pipe, and the loss of power or loss of energy is negligible in this case. So you can see optical fibers are very thin tubes. See, the size is very, very small. They are of the order of few micrometers, few microns. They are made up of glass or quartz or plastic with inner core of higher refractive index, denser medium, and outer cladding of lower refractive index, that is rarer medium. And when light enters inside the tube, it suffers multiple total internal reflections before emerging out with nearly no loss of energy. So pipe can be bent in any way and the light will follow all the bends and comes out. Now it has very important uses, like it is used in optical communication. All the optical communication is using this total internal reflection, and it has got lots of medical use, like it is used as light pipe for internal examination of human body, like your internal stomach or internal organs, and it is also used in laparoscopic surgery also. So there are multiple uses of this optical fiber. Brilliance of diamond. Now diamond has very high refractive index. It is of 2.4 0.42. Very high. So its critical angle is very small. It is of about 24 degree. So the critical angle for diamond is very small, and the faces of diamond are cut in such a way that when light enters inside a diamond, the angle of incidence is greater than the critical angle. See, critical angle is very small. So you will have large number of angle of incidences, and so the light rays suffer multiple internal reflections, and this gives sparkling brilliance to the diamonds. And now formation of mirage. You must have observed it. See, during summers, when your road gets very hot, or if you're in desert, then the earth gets very hot, then the air rises up, the warm air rises up. So density here comes lower than the density in the upper layer. So the layer which is in contact with the road is has lower density and lower refractive index, and the higher level has higher refractive index or becomes denser medium. Now, when you are observing any tree or high building or anything else, then the light rays coming from here, they are traveling from denser medium to rarer medium. Denser to rarer medium. So they continuously bend away from the normal, and finally they reach the eyes of the observer. Now, when the light reaches the observer along this direction, see, observer feels that light is coming somewhere from this place. So in this way, observer can see the tree or building as inverted. And actually there is no tree or no building, but it is our brain which makes us see the inverted image. And you know that an image can get inverted only if there is some water body. It can be pond or anything else. So the observer feels that there is some pond and the inverted image of water, this tree is seen by him. So this kind of illusion is called mirage. So during hot weather, the air near the earth surface gets heated and lighter, so rises up. The light rays coming from top of a tree travel from denser to rarer medium, so they suffer total internal reflection and inverted image is formed. It gives the illusion of a water pond. So this phenomena is called mirage, and the opposite happens during winters, heavy winters, and that phenomena is called looming, where a ship in water can be seen hanging in air. So that is called looming. This happens in very cold places. Now a numerical problem for you. Okay. Light rays of wavelength 5000 angstrom are incident on a glass slab placed in air. Find the wavelength and frequency of the refracted rays in glass, and refractive index of glass is given to be 1.5. So, what is given to us is lambda 1 5000 angstrom. Wavelength in air is 5000 angstrom. Velocity of light in air is 3 into 10 raised to the power 8 meter per second. Now relation for refractive index is n is equal to c upon v. We are familiar with this relation. Velocity of light in vacuum upon velocity of light in medium. So velocity of light in glass, v, is equal to c upon n. From here, just see cross multiplication. C is 3 into 10 raised to the power 8. N is given to be 1.5, and you get 2 into 10 raised to the power 8 meter per second. So velocity of light in glass is 2 into 10 raised to the power 8 meter per second. Now, frequency of light in air, that is velocity in air upon wavelength in air, and this is 3 into 10 raised to the power 8 upon, this is 5000 angstrom. So 5000, and angstrom is 10 raised to the power minus 10, and simplify it, the frequency comes out to be 6 into 10 raised to the power 14 hertz. Now wavelength in glass. Now wavelength in glass will be velocity in glass upon frequency in glass. You know that velocity v is equal to nu lambda. So lambda is equal to v upon nu. You can see v upon nu. Now velocity in glass is 2 into 10 raised to the power 8, and frequency does not change. When light travels from one medium to another, frequency remains unchanged. So it is the same frequency as in air, and when you divide, you get 3.333 into 10 raised to the power minus 7 meter, and when you convert it to angstrom, then the wavelength in glass is 3333 angstrom, and frequency remains unchanged, that is 6 into 10 raised to the power 14 hertz. So along with the formulae, you must remember that frequency does not change. Another problem, very simple problem. The refractive indices of water and glass are 4/3 and 3/2 respectively. Find refractive index of glass with respect to water, refractive index of water with respect to glass, and the refractive index of glass with respect to water, N21, is N2, which is the second medium, glass, upon N1, which is the first medium, water, because light is traveling from water to glass. So first medium is water, second medium is glass, or 3/2 upon 4/3, it is equal to 9/8. And refractive index of water with respect to glass, see, just reciprocal of it. So N12 is 1/N21, that is 8/9. So the idea should be clear to you. Now a very good problem from board, and you get similar problem in your NCERT book also. So let us look at the problem. A fish in a water tank sees the outside world as if it is at the vertex of a cone, such that the circular base of the cone coincides with the surface of water. Now given the depth of water where the fish is located being h, and the critical angle for water-air interface being IC, find out by drawing a suitable ray diagram the relationship between the radius of the cone and the height h. So you must read the question carefully, and I have drawn the diagram for you. See here. The fish is at the bottom of the pond, and the light rays coming from fish going like this, and if the light is somewhere here, if the light is coming somewhat like this, it will go out like this. I should choose a darker color. If light ray is coming like this, it will go like outwards like this. Okay, but when the light is incident at the critical angle IC, it will go perpendicular. It will go graze along the interface between this rarer medium air upon denser medium water, right? So the area here, you'll get a circle and this whole thing will be like a cone. So this is the vertex of the cone, right? And this is the depth of the fish, and this is the radius of the circular area which is coinciding with the surface of the water. And somebody here only in this area can see this fish. If you are standing somewhere here, you cannot see the fish. So let us try to solve it. Fish is at the bottom, and now look at it. Refractive index of water, n is equal to 1 upon sine IC, and from this diagram, for maximum value of R, the angle of incidence should be equal to IC. You can see that. This angle of incidence and angle of, this is critical angle, this is angle of incidence. So alternate angles, they are equal. So I is equal to IC, and from here this AF is equal to under root R square plus H square. See, this is perpendicular and this is base. Base is equal to H. So this hypotenuse is AF is equal to under root R square plus H square using Pythagoras theorem. And sine IC, see, from this relation, sine IC is equal to 1 upon n, and from this triangle, sine IC is equal to the perpendicular R upon hypotenuse AF, that is R upon under root R square plus H square, and just cross multiply, you'll get n square. Then you'll get R square plus H square is equal to n square R square. Take this to this side and square, and again change the sides. Take this R square to the right side. You get R square into n square minus 1 is equal to H square, and now change the sides. You get R is equal to H upon under root n square minus 1. So it's a simple mathematical problem, but you must understand the phenomena and the situation. Another very interesting problem and often asked in board examination. So here, 3 rays of light, red, green and blue, are incident on the face AB of a right angled prism ABC. The refractive indices of the material of the prism for red, green and blue wavelength are as 1.39, 1.44 and 1.47 respectively. Trace the paths of the rays through the prism. How will the situation change if these rays were incident normally on one of the faces of an equilateral prism? So two situations are here. Now, I have drawn one situation for you. So, if the light is coming along the normal, there will be no deviation here, and at this point, so this angle is 45. So, at this point, the angle of incidence is 45 degree, and the angle of incidence is same for all three colors, red, green and blue. So, angle of incidence I is equal to 45 degree, and we have to check critical angle for all three colors because they have different refractive indices. So let's see how we do it. Now angle of incidence is same for each ray. I is 45 degree. So to observe total internal reflection, the necessary condition is angle of incidence I should be greater than IC, or sine I should be greater than sine IC, or you know the relation for refractive index. So mu is equal to 1 upon sine IC should be greater than 1 upon sine I. You see? Now the situation is reversed. Here sine I was greater, but 1 upon sine I is smaller. And now from here mu should be greater than, now I is 45 degree, right? Now for sine 45 is 1 upon root 2, so 1 upon root 2, or mu should take the reciprocal, so mu should be greater than under root 2, and the value of under root 2 is 1.41, right? So that means the total internal reflection should be observed for green and blue. You can see that the refractive index of medium mu should be greater than 1.41. So for blue and green, the refractive index is greater than 1.41, which is 1.44 and 1.47. And for red, it is 1.39, which is lesser than this. So total internal reflection will take place only for green and blue. So you can see. So this green light will go like this. Blue light will also go like this. But red will not get total internal reflection. It will get refracted. The original path is this one, and it will get refracted like this. So the path for red will be coming straight, and the straight path is this one. It will bend away from the normal like this. So total internal reflection for red will not take place. Now coming for the next situation. What if we had normal incidence on an equilateral prism? So we have equilateral prism like this. All three angles are 60 degree, and the ray is coming along the normal. Now look at the angles here. Yeah, look at it. So the ray is coming along the normal, so this angle is 90 degree, this is 60, so clearly this angle will be 30 degree. And at this point, when the normal is drawn, the angle of incidence I is equal to 60 degree. And see, okay, now angle of incidence is same for all of them, which is 60 degree, as you can see. Now to observe total internal reflection, angle of incidence should be greater than the critical angle, sine I should be greater than sine IC, or mu which is equal to 1 upon sine IC, it should be greater than 1 upon sine I. See, when you make the reciprocal, this greater than is replaced by lesser than, or mu should be greater than 1 upon root 3 by 2. See, the value of sine 60 is root 3 by 2, or this is equal to 2 upon root 3, and when you simplify it, you get 1.55. So mu should be greater than 1.15, and they all have refractive index greater than 1.15. For red it was 1.39, for blue it was 1.44, and for green it was 1.44, for blue it was 1.47. So refractive index for all the colors is greater than this value. So total internal reflection will be observed for all the rays. So I have shown you just one ray, but even if you take the red, it will show total internal reflection. If you take blue, that will also show total internal reflection. So with this I come to the end of this video. I hope it is very useful to you all. Thank you for watching.